Good morning, guys. Speedboat Maniac 410 here. So, like usual, in the morning when I get going, get my coffee, you know, do a little prayer and meditation to get the morning started or whatever. Everybody has their thing. Some people don't have their thing. And then, you know, you get on the internet, you know, check out the new news of the day, check your emails or whatever. And some interesting news came across a couple forums. My wife actually, you know, saw one on Facebook. And anyway, what I heard was another incredible boating story, an awesome boating story, where the Lucas Oil 48-foot GP boat, Grand Prix I believe it stands for, Deep V, it's got a bunch of strakes on it. It's Nigel Hook's boat from SilverHook Racing. And I believe that they're based, don't quote me, I believe out of California. They just broke the Key West to Cuba, however you want to say it, world record. Now, it's got to be sanctioned and double-checked and all that by Guinness and all that, but they made it in 1 hour and 18 minutes. Now, look, it's approximately 90 miles. I don't know if it's 89 miles or 91 miles from the point to the point that they ran, but they made it basically, if you do the math, in 78 minutes. So at 90 miles, if it's 90 miles and they did it in 78 minutes, then they were running somewhere between 80 and 90 miles an hour. I don't have my calculator and to do the math right now, but you guys get the point. On average, they were running between 80 and 90 miles an hour. So, towards the last leg of it, in this interview with Nigel Hook and one of his partners, I forget his first name, but it's Johnson is his last name, they were running 127 miles an hour. I guess the last, when they finally started seeing the land of Cuba coming in, they were running like 127 miles an hour for the last little bit of the run. But that's rolling and boogieing. Now listen, I'm not sure, and I haven't really done a whole lot of research on it, but I know that the record has been broken from Key West to Cuba, you know, several times, but it all depends on the weather conditions, obviously, and the water conditions, the wave heights, the wind, and all this. And listen, obviously, your equipment on your boat, your engines, your outdrives, the overall health and technology in the boat to be able to handle running a boat pretty much balls out, you know, in high seas, low seas, wide open, high RPMs, as long as you can for an hour and 18 minutes. You know, I get yelled at when I run my boat for more than 7 or 8 minutes on the red line, which is basically around 6,200, but I shouldn't be running it over 5,800 or 5,500 RPMs. I get yelled at by Art Lilly and my wife and everybody else. You're going to blow it up, you're going to blow it up. Well, I know my boat's not a racing boat, but still it's got high-performance engines in it. My point is the fact that you take these endurance races, which basically that's what they are, endurance tests. You know, people go from America to, you know, Europe and back across the Atlantic Ocean and try to break those records with those big multi-gazillion-dollar boats. They try to break records all the time. But this is something a little bit more like down to earth. It's a 48-foot Deep V boat, like I already explained, but it has these little teeny bat wings that come off the back of it on a flat horizontal. I guess if you hit the waves, it kind of keeps it stable. It's a wild-looking boat. It's a crazy-looking boat. I got to tell you, I'm not sure the power that's in that boat right now. I could do a little bit more research. You guys can go online and just look up SilverHook Racing or Lucas Oil Racing with Nigel Hook. Now, here's the cool thing, to find out more information for yourself. Here's the pretty cool thing where I was thinking about this whole, like, 6 degrees of separation or whatever, and, you know, how we're all kind of connected, whether, you know, and look, guys, I'm a punk from Bowie, Maryland, that basically likes to do power boating. and sometimes really realize that I can't afford to powerboat like some of these guys with big fat paychecks that have stacks of $100 bills. Okay, I know that. But here's what's cool. The motors in my boat, from what I understand, came out of one of Nigel Hook's race boats, or a race boat called the Sitco Raceboat back in 1999. The motors in this boat. And then they were rebuilt, and then they were put in by Team Archer Marine, which is now owned and operated, and the full steam ahead projects that are being done there in California, in Costa Mesa, California, which is Mr. Dan McNamara. He's the one that helped me purchase this boat. He wasn't the broker. He didn't sell me the boat. He's the one that had the marina and the repair shop that this boat was at and being stored at, and introduced me to the owner, and I purchased this boat. Well, Dan McNamara has done the work for several years. I don't know if he still does or not, for the SilverHook team, for the Lucas Oil team, for the same boat that broke this record. So this boat came from the same shop that basically is working on a boat that is broken, you know, unsanctioned so far, the Key West to Cuba run. Okay, that's what's cool about it. And the motors in my boat came out of a boat that Nigel Hook ran 20 years ago. So it's just kind of neat, the whole boating community or whatever. You know, you just wonder, man, well, how did you get to a place where, you know, you were interested in boating, and now you have a 42-foot boat, and you got these big 1,100 horsepower motors, but you had them detuned to 800 horsepower so that they'll run on pump fuel 93 instead of 110 octane. How did you get Nigel Hook's motors from 20 years ago, or, you know, 17 or 18 years ago, and then you purchased this boat from the same lot that this boat that broke the record has been in the same bay, had the same mechanics' hands working on it, because Dan McNamara has worked on, like I said, Nigel Hook's Lucas Oil racing boat for several years. He was actually working on it a couple months before I went out there at the end of 2015, before I picked this boat up. So anyway, that's all pretty much, guys, that I was going to share. I just think it's really interesting, not only the record that Nigel Hook broke, and I want to congratulate him and the SilverHook team, and Johnson, who was co-piloting with him, or his partner, or both. I'm not sure. Again, you guys can look this stuff up online and check your own forums. But anyway, it's a great day today, and I'm going to do a little work on the boat. I'm probably going to polish some of the gel coat up around the fairing and on the deck a little bit, and wash it, because it's getting a little, you know, scuzzy up top from the trees and the leaves sometimes. So anyway, guys, thank you for listening, and thank you for coming along on this ride. And again, go check it out. The Lucas Oil 48-foot Nigel Hook SilverHook record from Key West to Cuba in 78 minutes. Rolling. We'll see you guys next time. God bless.